So a lot of people are absolutely confused as to how the Bitcoin price can be moving around, or rather, how the inflows and the outflows can be moving around so much, and the price isn't that affected. Obviously, we've seen, it trade down in the first two trading days of the ETF, but there's a lot more activity going on than the price reflects. There's a lot more Bitcoin being taken off the markets, off the OTC desks. And I wanted to basically cover quite just simply and quickly, just to simplify it for most people, what an OTC desk is and how it actually works. Because I know a lot of people can get confused by, how are these institutions actually doing this without affecting the price? And of course, the way Michael Saylor is purchasing Bitcoin, they're in the market 24/7 using OTC desks, using everything to try and not move the price. Because if you've got $1 billion and you go put a market order for $1 billion into Bitcoin, the price is going to move, and you don't want that to happen, because I want to get in at the certain price that I've decided that I want to get in at. So really, what I need to do is go find either OTC deals where I can go acquire that amount of Bitcoin, which are without affecting the exchange markets, or I need to figure out how to set up an algorithm to sit in the market and scalp off anyone who comes in with a small sell order until the $1 billion is fulfilled. So what does OTC desks mean? It stands for over the counter, right? And the way that I want you to, I'm going to put it in simple terms, and then we're going to dive into it. Imagine that you've got a bake sale going on, right? And you've got to go into that bake sale, and you've got your bag of cookies. If you go in to that bake sale, which is the market, right? And you go into that bake sale, you got other people selling cookies too. You got other people coming out with their own products and their own stuff and whatever, and you go in with a ton of cookies, and everyone can see your price point, and everything is publicly available. Now, other people that are competing with you can start adjusting their prices in order to compete with you based on what's going on. Like if your cookie stand goes through the roof with people just wanting to buy as many of your cookies as possible, everyone else is going to say, hey, we should probably raise the price of our cookies as well, because looks like they're about to run out of supply and people want to buy cookies. Whereas if you did an OTC deal with your cookies, what that would mean is the night before, you would go call all of your friends that definitely wanted to buy the cookies, and you would say, hey, listen, if I go into the market tomorrow, if I go to the bake sale tomorrow with my cookies, the price is going to go ridiculous, and then you're not going to be able to get the price that you want. How about I just give you my cookies right now, the night before we go over to the bake sale, and we can agree a price, and we can just do a deal directly outside of the bake sale. The bake sale would be the market in this scenario. And so that's how an OTC desk works, right? So people are going there and they're buying up the Bitcoin from the OTC desk because they don't want to affect the market. They don't want to go into the market and place $250 million daily buy orders, because the market's going to go, wait a second, we better start raising the price because these buy orders are sitting there. All of that is public information. So the OTC desk is designed to allow big parties to acquire Bitcoin without causing slippage in the price in the exchange, in the public markets. And so with Bitcoin, it's very simple, right? Like if I'm BlackRock, I call an OTC desk up and say, hey, do you have anyone that wants to sell their Bitcoin at this price, and we'll do a bulk order without going into the market and buy it right now. So you could have, for who might want to do this. For example, let's say you've got big Bitcoin whales that want to offload some Bitcoin. They're going to use an OTC desk because they don't just want to go and put all of that selling pressure into the exchange, because everyone else can see that they're going to utilize the exchange to sell that, and then people will start lowering their prices in response to those sell orders. You might have mining companies. Mining companies definitely are not going to use exchanges because they'll, again, drive down the price. By the time they get done, finish selling all of their Bitcoin, the price is going to be 8% lower than it was, and it causes slippage and this, that, and the other, right? So what they'll do is they'll call the OTC desk and say, hey, we have this amount of Bitcoin ready to sell at this price. The OTC desk will call a buyer up, let's say for right now, BlackRock, and say, hey, I've got 900 Bitcoin or 1,000 Bitcoin that need to be sold at this price point, OTC. and BlackRock will say done, and the cash will be just sent straight over to the other party, and the Bitcoin will be transferred, and the OTC desk will manage that. The beautiful thing about this is it doesn't hit the exchange, which means that it doesn't cause the increase in volatility that dumping Bitcoin onto the exchange or placing a ton of buy orders onto the exchange could cause for the buyer or the seller. And so it's basically a smoother way to maintain the purchasing price or the selling price that you want if you are doing a bulk amount of purchasing. So this is the smartest way to buy Bitcoin. If you're buying or selling a large amount of Bitcoin, you definitely want to use an OTC desk because it means that the market's not going to dump or start going up as a result of that. Now, there is obviously a lag, if you can understand, there's obviously a lag on prices here, right? Because think about it. If you've got those cookies, and let's say I was going to go into the bake sale with 500 cookies, but I've already sold 300 when it comes to the OTC desk, right? I've already sold 300 of those cookies to the friends that wanted to buy it. That buyer is now no longer going to the bake sale, and it looks like I have 200 cookies left, right? Whereas what most people don't know is that I actually had 500 cookies left, but I've sold 300 of them to those buyers. So now we need to wait until new buyers that come to the bake sale come in and buy the 200 cookies until people realize a lot of people want to buy these cookies. So therefore, I need to raise the price. There is a time lag between when there is a transaction on the OTC desk versus the actual market. It just means that you have to wait a little bit longer for that demand and lack of supply to show up on the actual exchange. And it will happen eventually because the people that are buying from OTC desks are not, they're not going to show up and dump that Bitcoin onto the market immediately. So what they're going to do is they're going to sit there and now all of that supply that was going on exchanges, as that starts dwindling, there's no more supply to feed the exchanges from the OTC desk because the buying has been going on. And therefore, the OTC desks are empty. And now, if there is someone who wants to buy those cookies right now for a gift, for example, they have to go to the bake sale and they have to make the offer to make sure that they get the right amount of cookies that they need. So that's what happens with Bitcoin. That's all an OTC desk is. It is not complicated at all. It's just a way to keep the price smooth and to make the market not react crazy to insane buy orders and sell orders. I mean, if there was $250 million a day of buy orders going into the market, into the actual exchange, you would see price volatility, like a shocking amount of price volatility. And that will happen at some point, right? Because OTC sellers, it makes sense to do that when you've got a market going sideways. But when you've got a market going up, it doesn't really make sense to listen to your OTC desk, because it's like, wait a second, if I just sell this into the market, there's so much demand coming in, I might actually get a higher average price rather than actually giving it to you for a fixed price. So soon enough, you're going to see OTC desks. I think we've had a record amount of OTC desk Bitcoin withdrawal, which means the supply at the bake sale is going to be less, and that is still being bought up at this point. So as that supply gets bought up, the OTC desk demand will eventually hit the market, because they have to go somewhere to buy it, because the ETFs have to buy it, and therefore the price will start moving up. But there's always a little bit of a lag because of the illusion that you create using an OTC desk that maybe the demand isn't as high. But the demand is high because the new buyer that's coming in is not trading, right? BlackRock, they bought 11,500 Bitcoin in 2 days. That Bitcoin is never going to see the light of day again, right? That Bitcoin is going to be there. And if that Bitcoin was from someone who was trading, for example, now there's 11,500 less Bitcoin available for trading and speculation. And therefore, when the price goes up, that Bitcoin is not going to be sold. And therefore, that will drive the price up. So right now, what we've seen is a rapid increase in supply of Bitcoin onto the exchanges and the OTC desk, which has caused the price dip. But the new buyer that's coming in is a forever buyer, and therefore at some point when that supply runs out and the selling gets exhausted, you're going to start seeing that get reflected in prices, because there's just no more supply left to come onto the market. So that really is an explanation of an OTC desk. that I wanted to get out there, because I know a lot of people are very, very confused about what an OTC desk actually does. It just makes the market and provides liquidity and a little bit of price discovery without causing too much damage to the exchange and too much volatility in the exchange. One of the things that I was thinking about, which is why I want you to subscribe to this video, is that it's never taken me more than 60 minutes to convince someone with a 500,000 plus net worth to buy, a little bit of Bitcoin, to at least pique intrigue and their willingness to allocate, 1% to Bitcoin. And I was just thinking about it, like with the ETF coming out now, so I could probably do it in less than 30 minutes. And then I put that on Twitter, and people said, hey, could you actually do a video talking about how you do that? And I'm going to do that coming up this week. So please subscribe so you don't miss that, because I think that's important. We all must be equipped in helping people understand that they can actually get access to this asset now very, very quickly. So I'm going to walk through my framework on how to actually sell these Bitcoin ETF products and Bitcoin itself generally, and how I've been doing it since 2020, since being orange pilled myself. So please subscribe to that. But I hope this makes sense regarding OTC desks and how they work, and why there is a time lag between OTC buying and price, on an open exchange. But ultimately, despite all of that, despite the OTC desk, despite how much Bitcoin is coming off the OTC desk, despite how much Bitcoin is going onto the OTC desk, despite how much Bitcoin the ETFs are buying, there's always only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, you shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.